Space is a place of wonders. It's a vast, seemingly infinite expanse that has fascinated humanity for centuries. From the twinkling stars to the mysterious planets, space holds countless secrets waiting to be uncovered. It's full of stars, planets, and galaxies. Each celestial body has its own story, its own unique characteristics that make it special. But beyond the visual splendor, there's something else that intrigues astronauts who venture into the cosmos. But did you know space has a smell? Yes, you heard that right. Despite the vacuum of space, astronauts have reported experiencing a distinct aroma when they return from their spacewalks. Astronauts report a strange aroma when they return from spacewalks. This phenomenon has been described by many who have had the privilege of floating in the void, tethered to their spacecraft. They say it smells like seared steak. Imagine that, floating in the vast emptiness of space, only to return to your spacecraft and be greeted by the scent of a freshly cooked steak. It's both bizarre and fascinating. This has puzzled scientists for years. The idea that space, a place devoid of air and traditional sensory experiences, could have a smell is perplexing. Researchers have been trying to understand the source of this aroma. What could be causing this unusual smell in the vast emptiness of space? Theories abound, but the exact cause remains elusive. Some suggest it might be related to the high-energy particles that astronauts are exposed to. The smell isn't coming from a giant steak floating around, of course. That would be quite the sight. Instead, it's believed to be a result of complex chemical reactions. Space is a vacuum, which means there's no air to carry smells. So, how do astronauts detect this aroma? The answer lies in the interactions between their suits and the environment outside. So how do astronauts smell it? When they return to the space station and remove their helmets, the particles that have clung to their suits mix with the air inside, creating the distinctive smell. The answer lies in the chemical reactions that happen when they return to the space station. These reactions produce compounds that resemble the smell of seared steak, adding another layer of mystery to the wonders of space. Astronauts have used different words to describe the smell of space. Some say it's like hot metal or welding fumes. Others say it's like burnt gunpowder or roasted almonds. But the most common description is that of seared steak. Astronaut Thomas Jones said it reminded him of the smell of a car race. Another astronaut, Don Pettit, described it as a rather pleasant, sweet metallic sensation. These vivid descriptions give us a glimpse into the unique sensory experience of returning from the vacuum of space. To understand why space smells like seared steak, we need to understand how smell works. Our noses detect smells through tiny molecules floating in the air. These molecules enter our noses and trigger smell receptors. Our brains then interpret these signals as different smells, but in space, there's no air to carry these smell molecules. It's a vacuum, meaning it's almost completely empty. So, even if there were something delicious like a steak floating around, we wouldn't be able to smell it directly. So, if we can't smell in space, how do astronauts pick up the seared steak aroma? It happens when they return to the space station after a spacewalk. Their spacesuits are exposed to the vacuum of space, which contains tiny particles called atomic oxygen. When they re-enter the space station, the atomic oxygen on their suits reacts with the air inside. This reaction creates ozone, which has a sharp, metallic smell. This ozone smell, mixed with other smells from the space station itself, is what astronauts perceive as the smell of space. Chemical reactions in space can be quite fascinating. Ozone, for instance, is a molecule made up of 3 oxygen atoms. It's formed when atomic oxygen, which is highly reactive, collides with oxygen molecules in the air. This reaction releases energy and creates ozone, which has a distinctive pungent odor. The amount of ozone created when astronauts re-enter the space station is very small. It's not harmful, but it's enough to create the noticeable smell. This smell is a tangible reminder of the chemical reactions happening all around us, even in the seemingly empty void of space. While ozone explains the metallic aspect of the space smell, it doesn't fully explain the seared steak aroma. Scientists believe this burnt smell comes from a group of chemicals called polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs. PAHs are formed when organic matter like coal or wood is burned incompletely. They're also found in space, created in the fiery deaths of stars. These PAHs cling to astronauts' spacesuits during spacewalks. When the astronauts return to the space station, the PAHs are released, contributing to the unique smell. Apart from ozone and PAH, other factors could contribute to the smell of space. The unique aroma experienced by astronauts is a complex blend of various elements and compounds that interact in the harsh environment of space. These include the smell of the space station's materials like metals, plastics, and fabrics. When these materials are exposed to the vacuum of space and the intense radiation, they can release distinct odors. The space station is a microcosm of different materials, each contributing its own scent to the overall smell. The vacuum of space and cosmic radiation can cause these materials to off-gas, releasing volatile compounds that add to the unique smell. Experiments conducted in vacuum chambers on Earth have shown that materials behave differently in space, often releasing gases that are not noticeable under normal atmospheric conditions. The astronauts' own sweat and breath can also add to the mix. In the confined environment of the space station, human activities such as exercising, eating, and even breathing contribute to the overall aroma. The human body releases various compounds through sweat and respiration, which can interact with the materials of the space station. These human factors create a unique and complex aroma that is distinctly different from anything experienced on Earth. The combination of human presence and the unique environment of space results in a sensory experience that is both fascinating and challenging for astronauts. Further research is needed to fully understand all the components of the space smell and their interactions. Scientists are continually studying the effects of space on materials and the human body to gain a better understanding of this phenomenon. By analyzing data from space missions and conducting experiments in space research laboratories, researchers hope to uncover the mysteries behind the unique smell of space. Each element, from ozone to PAH to the space station's own unique scent, contributes to the overall sensory experience of returning from a spacewalk. The combination of these factors creates a smell that is unlike anything on Earth, providing astronauts with a memorable and distinctive experience every time they venture outside the safety of their spacecraft. NASA has been trying to recreate the smell of space for years to help astronauts prepare for their missions. By training in a simulated space environment, astronauts can get used to the smell and avoid any surprises when they experience it for real. However, recreating this complex aroma has proven to be a challenge. The exact combination of chemicals and their concentrations is difficult to replicate. Despite the challenges, scientists continue to work on capturing the essence of the space smell, bringing a little piece of the cosmos back to Earth. The smell of space, while seemingly just a curious phenomenon, holds valuable clues about the universe. When astronauts return from their spacewalks, they often describe a distinct odor clinging to their suits. This scent, often compared to seared steak, hot metal, or welding fumes, is more than just an olfactory curiosity. It is a complex mixture of compounds that can tell us a great deal about the environment beyond our planet. The presence of PAHs, for instance, tells us about the life cycle of stars and the distribution of organic matter in space. PAHs, or polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, are complex organic molecules that form in the aftermath of dying stars. These molecules are not only found in space but also in common earthly substances like coal and oil. By studying these molecules, scientists can trace the history of star formation and destruction, and understand how organic compounds are distributed throughout the cosmos. By studying the smells astronauts bring back from space, we can learn about the chemical composition of celestial bodies and the processes happening in the vast expanse of the cosmos. When astronauts return to Earth, their suits carry with them the scent of space, which scientists can analyze to identify the specific compounds present. This analysis can reveal the presence of various elements and molecules, providing insights into the chemical makeup of different regions of space and the processes occurring there. The next time you smell a seared steak, remember that its aroma is not only found here on Earth, but also echoes through the universe, carried on the spacesuits of astronauts returning from their voyages to the stars. This connection between the familiar and the cosmic serves as a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. The same processes that create the smells we experience on Earth are at work throughout the universe, linking us to the stars in ways we are only beginning to understand. So, the next time you enjoy the scent of a sizzling steak, take a moment to ponder the vast, mysterious cosmos and the incredible journey those molecules have taken to reach your senses.